Have you ever found yourself gazing up at the night sky, perhaps on a clear evening or early morning, and noticed a single dazzlingly bright point of light shining above all the rest? Maybe you were out for a walk, or simply taking a moment to appreciate the vastness of the universe, when your eyes were drawn to a star that seemed to outshine everything else. It's a sight that has inspired wonder and curiosity in people for thousands of years, across every culture and continent. Chances are, that brilliant beacon you saw wasn't a star at all. It was Venus, the brightest planet visible from Earth. Venus is so luminous that it can often be seen even before the sky is fully dark, sometimes appearing at dusk just as the sun sets, or at dawn before the sun rises. Its glow is so intense that it can even cast faint shadows on a moonless night, a rare feat for any object other than the moon itself. Because of its striking appearance, Venus has earned the nicknames the evening star and the morning star. Depending on where it is in its orbit around the sun, Venus can be seen either in the western sky after sunset or in the eastern sky before sunrise. For ancient civilizations, this shifting presence was a source of mystery and fascination. Some even believed the evening star and the morning star were two different objects, until astronomers realized they were one and the same, Venus, our planetary neighbor. But here's the surprising truth. Venus isn't a star at all. Unlike the twinkling points of light that fill our night sky, Venus doesn't produce its own light. Instead, it reflects the light of the sun, much like the moon does. When you spot Venus shining so brightly, you're actually seeing sunlight bouncing off its thick, cloud-covered surface, and traveling across millions of kilometers to reach your eyes. Venus is a planet, specifically the second planet from the Sun in our solar system, nestled between Mercury and Earth. It's similar in size and composition to our own planet, which is why it's sometimes called Earth's sister planet. But despite these similarities, Venus is a world of extremes, with a thick, toxic atmosphere and surface temperatures hot enough to melt lead. From space, Venus appears as a brilliant white orb, its clouds reflecting sunlight with incredible efficiency. Throughout history, Venus has captivated skywatchers and astronomers alike. Ancient civilizations tracked its movements and wove its appearances into their myths and legends. The Maya, for example, built entire calendars around Venus's cycles, while the ancient Greeks and Romans named the planet after their goddesses of love and beauty. Even today, people all over the world pause to admire Venus's dazzling presence, whether they're seasoned astronomers or simply curious stargazers. But what exactly makes Venus so bright? Why does it stand out so dramatically from all the other objects in the night sky, outshining even the brightest stars? The answer lies in a combination of factors: its proximity to Earth, its highly reflective cloud cover, and its position relative to the Sun and our planet. Venus's thick clouds are made mostly of sulfuric acid, which reflect about 70% of the sunlight that hits them, far more than any other planet in our solar system. So the next time you spot that sparkling jewel in the sky, remember, you're witnessing the brilliance of Venus, a planet that has inspired awe for millennia. Its beauty is more than just a trick of light, it's a reminder of the wonders that await us in the universe and an invitation to keep exploring the mysteries of our cosmic neighborhood. Let's take a closer look at what makes Venus shine so brightly and uncover the secrets behind its remarkable brilliance. To understand why Venus shines so brightly in our night sky, we need to take a closer look at its unique position in the solar system and the fascinating science behind its dazzling appearance. Venus has captured the imagination of skywatchers for centuries, often being mistaken for a star because of its intense glow. But what makes this planet stand out so much among the other celestial bodies we see from Earth? Let's embark on a journey to uncover the secrets of our neighboring planet and discover why it's often called the evening star or morning star. First, let's consider Venus's place in our solar system. The solar system is made up of 8 planets, each following its own unique path or orbit around the Sun. Venus is the second planet from the Sun, sitting between Mercury and Earth. Its orbit is not only closer to the Sun than ours, but it's also nearly circular, which means Venus maintains a relatively consistent distance from both the Sun and Earth throughout its journey. Venus is our closest planetary neighbor, and this proximity plays a crucial role in how we see it from Earth. When Venus is on the same side of the Sun as Earth, it comes closer to us than any other planet ever does. This closeness allows Venus to reflect more sunlight toward us, making it appear exceptionally bright. While Mercury is technically the closest planet to the Sun, its orbit keeps it much closer to the Sun's glare, making it harder to spot from Earth. Venus, on the other hand, has an orbit that brings it much closer to Earth at certain times, even though it's not the innermost planet. In fact, Venus can come as close as about 38 million kilometers to Earth, which is much closer than Mars or any other planet ever gets. This proximity to Earth is one of the main reasons why Venus appears so bright in our sky. When Venus is at its closest approach, it can outshine every other planet and even some of the brightest stars. It's often the first star you'll see after sunset, or the last one visible before sunrise, earning it its famous nicknames. The closer an object is to us, the larger and brighter it appears. This is a simple rule of perspective that applies to everything we see, from everyday objects to distant planets. When Venus is near Earth, its apparent size in the sky increases, and it reflects more sunlight toward us, making it look like a brilliant beacon. Think about a car's headlights approaching you at night. At first, when the car is far away, the light seems small and faint. But as the car gets closer, the headlights grow larger and much brighter, almost dazzling your eyes. The closer the car gets, the brighter its headlights seem. This is because the light has less distance to travel, and more of it reaches your eyes. The same principle applies to Venus. When it's closer to Earth, more of the sunlight it reflects makes its way to us, making it appear as a shining jewel in the sky. But there's another reason Venus is so bright: its thick, reflective atmosphere. Venus is covered in dense clouds made mostly of sulfuric acid, which act like a giant mirror, bouncing sunlight back into space. These clouds are incredibly good at reflecting light, much more so than the surfaces of most other planets. In fact, Venus reflects about 70% of the sunlight that hits it, making it the most reflective planet in our solar system. Compare this to Mars, which has a much thinner atmosphere and a dusty, reddish surface that absorbs more sunlight than it reflects. That's why, even though Mars can come relatively close to Earth, it never appears as bright as Venus. So, the next time you spot a brilliant star in the evening or morning sky, remember that you're looking at our closest planetary neighbor, Venus. Its unique position in the solar system, its proximity to Earth, and its highly reflective clouds all combine to make it the brightest planet visible from our world, a true gem of the night sky. When you look up at the night sky and spot Venus, you might notice that it shines with a brilliance that outshines almost every other object except the moon. Many people assume that Venus appears so bright simply because it's relatively close to Earth, but the story is much more fascinating than that. The planet's brightness is not just a matter of distance. There are other, more intriguing factors at play that make Venus such a dazzling spectacle in our sky. One of the most important reasons for Venus's extraordinary brightness is its atmosphere. Unlike the thin, almost transparent atmosphere of Mars or the dynamic, cloud-streaked skies of Jupiter, Venus is wrapped in a dense, thick blanket of clouds that completely hides its surface from view. This atmosphere is so substantial that it plays a crucial role in how much sunlight Venus reflects. These clouds are not just ordinary clouds like those we see on Earth. Instead, Venus is shrouded in a swirling, impenetrable layer of clouds that stretch for miles above its surface. The clouds are so thick and persistent that they have prevented astronomers from seeing the planet's surface with visible light for centuries, forcing us to rely on radar and other technologies to peer beneath them. What makes these clouds truly remarkable is their composition. They are made up mostly of tiny droplets of sulfuric acid, suspended high in the atmosphere. Sulfuric acid is highly reflective, meaning it bounces a large portion of the sunlight that hits it back into space. This is very different from the clouds on Earth, which are mostly made of water vapor and are not nearly as reflective. To understand how this works, imagine you're in a dark room with a flashlight. If you shine the flashlight onto a dull wall, some of the light is absorbed and only a little is reflected back. But if you shine that same flashlight onto a mirror, the light bounces right back at you, appearing much brighter and more intense. This is exactly what happens with Venus's clouds. The thick layer of sulfuric acid droplets acts like a giant planetary mirror, reflecting sunlight with incredible efficiency. In fact, Venus reflects about 70% of the sunlight that strikes it, which is more than any other planet in our solar system. So, when sunlight travels across the vast distance of space and hits Venus, a significant portion of that light doesn't just get absorbed or scattered. Instead, it's reflected back into space by the planet's dense reflective clouds. This reflected sunlight is what makes Venus appear so bright to us here on Earth, even though it's millions of kilometers away. The next time you see Venus shining like a beacon in the evening or morning sky, remember that its brilliance is not just a matter of how close it is to us. It's the result of a thick, reflective atmosphere made of sulfuric acid clouds, working together with the sun's light to create one of the most spectacular sights in our solar system. The reflectivity of a planet's surface or atmosphere is called its albedo. Venus has the highest albedo of any planet in our solar system. This means that Venus reflects a larger percentage of sunlight than any other planet. Imagine Venus as a giant disco ball hanging in space. The sun acts like a spotlight, and Venus's clouds act like the tiny mirrors on the disco ball, scattering sunlight in all directions. Some of that reflected light reaches our eyes, making Venus appear incredibly bright. To put Venus's brightness into perspective, let's compare it to other objects in the night sky. Venus is often brighter than any star we can see with our naked eyes. In fact, only the sun and the moon outshine Venus in terms of apparent brightness. Even the mighty Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system, doesn't come close to matching Venus's brilliance. This is because Jupiter is much farther away from Earth than Venus, and its atmosphere doesn't reflect sunlight as efficiently. So when and where can you see Venus in all its glory? Because of its orbit, Venus appears to move across the sky, changing its position relative to the sun. Sometimes Venus is visible in the evening sky after sunset, earning it the nickname evening star. Other times, Venus rises before the sun, gracing the morning sky as the morning star. You can often find Venus near the horizon in the east before sunrise or in the west after sunset. Venus is a celestial wonder that has fascinated humankind for centuries. Its dazzling brightness, caused by its proximity to Earth, its thick, reflective clouds, and its high albedo, makes it a standout object in the night sky. Whether you know it as the evening star or the morning star, Venus is a beautiful sight to behold. So next time you gaze up at the stars, keep an eye out for our sparkling planetary neighbor, Venus.